I already very quickly didn't quite believe in the mental disorder model, that we've lost ordinary language around human affairs. The creative process necessarily comes with mistakes and messes. I think we lose our imagination over time. The smart person who is not creative, who is conventional, wants conventional things, wants to know the answers to the test. But I think everyone has imagination available to them, but they have to reclaim it.
Welcome to Khan Klinics, your dedicated space for exploring the vital connections that shape your well-being. Here we dive into everything from achieving peak physical fitness by mastering sustainable weight management to optimizing your diet for a vibrant life. We're passionate about uncovering the power interplay between your mental and physical health, offering you insightful strategies to nurture both. Join us as we unlock the secrets to embark on your self-confidence and your inspiration by interviewing the top-rated personalities, not from only the US, but around the world. At Khan Klinics, our commitment is to bring you evidence-based information that inspires you to confidently control your health journey and live your life to the absolute fullness. I'm your host, Amir Khan. Let's get ready to unlock the true potential of being a human with the most amazing people around us. We're living in a time of rising despair clocked in external achievement, where accolades and success often mask deep emotional unrest. While creativity is celebrated, the emotional burden on artists, innovators, and seekers is seldom acknowledged. According to the WHO 2023, depression has become the leading cause of global disability. It affects over 200 million people worldwide. While creative individuals facing heightened emotional channels, WHO Depression Fact Sheet confirms this. A recent study in Scientific Reports 2023 reveals that creativity anxiety, a fear of engaging in creative tasks, can reduce performance, trigger state anxiety, and sap emotional energy among people when faced with real-world challenges. And a Frontiers in Psychology review highlights how, for adolescents and young adults, creative expression can serve as a resilience mechanism, helping them cope with pandemic-era anxiety, stress, and social isolation. Yet, amid these inner struggles, there is a path forward, one built on awareness, meaning, and courageous creation. What does it really take to live a life where your creativity flows and your minds feel free? Can we turn anxiety into calm and self-doubt into purpose and direction? If you're ever felt stuck, overwhelmed, or unsure about your path, you're not alone. Today's episode might be the turning point you need. Welcome to another episode of Khan Clinics. I'm your host, Dr. Amir Khan, and today we're joined by a remarkable guest. We explore today the powerful journey of a former skeptic turned into a pioneer in creative psychology, the brilliant mind behind the Van Gogh Blues and fearless creating Dr. Eric Mays. Dr. Mays is an American psychotherapist, teacher, coach, author. Is the co-founder of Purposely, the life navigation app that keeps you focused on what's important. He trains creativity coaches and provides training for the Creativity Coaching Association. Dr. Maisel has created 3 category programs with Nobel Manhattan coaching, a creativity coach certificate, and a diploma program. Dr. Maisel lives in San Francisco Bay Area and maintains a thriving international coaching practice. He was born in New York, he was raised in Brooklyn, and he studied in Manhattan. He earned his master's in creative writing from San Francisco State University. Dr. Maisel wrote the Rethinking Mental Health blog for Psychology Today, blogs for the Good Men Project, and Fine Art America. He's also the author of numerous books, including Fearless Creating, Rethinking Depression, The Van Gogh Blues, Redesign Your Mind. Dr. Eric Maisel, we warmly welcome you to Khan Clinic.
Hi, Amir. It's wonderful to be here. Thanks so much for that introduction.
It's a pleasure. Well, we'll start off by asking you what inspired you to shift from psychotherapy to founding creativity coaching as its own discipline. It's a very intriguing field.
Well, when I was studying to be a therapist, I already very quickly didn't quite believe in the mental disorder model. I thought it was a labeling mechanism and not true medicine. It did not strike me as reasonable that you would get a diagnosis based just on a symptom picture as opposed to causes. So I had many doubts about the model. And in working with creative and performing artists as a therapist, I didn't think I was dealing with mental disorders. I thought I was dealing with problems in living, challenges that human beings face that ought not to be labeled. So that was beginning of a long journey in disputing the psychiatric model, the mental disorder model, and in my belief that we've lost ordinary language around human affairs. Who can say that they're despairing anymore? It's all about depression, or that they're sad or disappointed, or any of those old fashioned words that still carry a lot of meaning and weight, but they're not available anymore. Depression has grabbed that whole territory. So it's a long-winded way of saying I didn't believe in the therapy model, so I segued from that to what I called creativity consulting because coaching didn't exist yet. This is more than 30 years ago. Sports coaching existed, but not life coaching. And when coaching became a real thing, then I shifted from consulting to coaching, and I think created the profession of creativity coaching some 30 odd years ago. And it's essentially life coaching for creative performing artists. It's a simple thing to say, not a simple thing to do, but a simple thing to say.
Thank you for explaining that. What would you say would be the key ingredients when you are teaching or want to teach to your students creativity?
Yeah, it's honoring the creative process, which goes in one ear and out the other. That doesn't sound like a very important phrase, but in fact, it's very important because the creative process it necessarily comes with mistakes and messes. It comes with lots of ordinary work. It comes with failed work. It doesn't come with that many masterpieces. And so all human beings, rightly, all day long are trying to get things right. Pick up their kids at 3 and drive on the correct side of the road and do the right thing. Then somehow a moment is supposed to come where you let go of all of that rightness and go into the unknown and willingly make mistakes and messes for the sake of some creative effort. It's not easy to make that transition. And these things that we call blockage or resistance, I think really are about the inability to easily make that transition from our ordinary mind that wants to get things right to this other place, to this release, to this relaxation, to this imaginative place where we have permission to make big mistakes and messes. And by big, I mean spending 2 years on a book that doesn't work. That's horrible to say, but that's the reality of process. Can't have a guarantee. So many of the clients I work with don't want to start on a project until somehow they have a guarantee that it will work. And they can't have that. It's just not available. They can't have that guarantee. So I have to help them understand that they have to sit there and do the work without attaching to outcomes. Have lots of hopes, have lots of ambitions, but not anything like a guarantee. If they can get there, if they can show up each day to the daily practice of an encounter in the unknown, then they'll get their work done. But if they want to wait and wait for some knowing that isn't available, they'll never get started.
Dr. Maisel, it's fascinating you talk about encountering or visiting the unknown,
Yes,
opening up your imagination, go with an open heart, no outcomes guaranteed. Is imagination or imaging necessary to go into creating something? And if so, what would you say to those who say, who lack it, who are not skilled at it, and cannot do the interpretation from such phenomena?
I would say they don't lack it. I would say they lost it. I would say it's been trained out of them. I think home life and school train us not to be imaginative. You're not supposed to have ideas and imagination at the dinner table. You're supposed to be quiet and eat your peas. And at school, you're supposed to know answers to the tests and draw within the lines. So I think we lose our imagination over time. You ask any 7-year-old to draw to connect a salmon with a skyscraper, and they'll do it. They'll make a salmon shaped skyscraper. They'll just do it. They'll be relaxed in doing something like that. As you get older, and people start to say why and what's right and what's the right way to do it and all of that, they start to lose their ability to freely imagine. So the task for a grown up is to be childlike, to be imaginative again, to have that experience of walking around the lake without an agenda and just opening up to one's thoughts and musings. It's not easy because it really has been trained out of us. There have been interesting studies trying to trying to enumerate the differences between smart folks on the one hand and creative folks on the other hand. And they can be one and the same person sometimes, but they're often different people. And what seems to distinguish one from the other, the smart person who is not creative, who is conventional, wants conventional things, wants to know the answers to the test. The creative individual doesn't care about the test, doesn't care about getting right answers, is often 2 standard deviations above the mean different from conventionality. So there's a real difference there. I think there is a creative personality. I think some folks pop out of the womb more individualistic and stubborn than other people. That's just my belief system. It may or may not be true. But I think there is a creative personality. But I think everyone has imagination available to them, but they have to reclaim it.
Fascinating, really brilliant. And then, if I ask a follow up to that, would be would you think that smart people are always creative, or
No.
are creative based people always smart, or it doesn't really matter and they're separate phenomena?
Well, it matters, but they are separate phenomena. It does matter. I mean, it does matter if you're smart and not creative and wish you were creative. That matters. If you're creative but need a certain billions of extra neurons in order to solve a problem, that matters. All of those things matter. But I do think that there's a difference between smartness and creativity. And the creativity has to do with individualism, iconoclastness, being that person who's willing to speak up in a crowd, wanting to have a voice. A smart person doesn't necessarily want to be that person who stands out or speaks up or stands for truth, beauty, and goodness, who has certain ideals. I think the creative person, underneath it all, even if they want success and ambition and all of those things, underneath it all, they're for that 19th century maxim, truth, beauty, and goodness. That's what they're after. And in the 20th century, we've deconstructed all of those three words. We no longer know what truth might mean, or beauty might mean, or goodness might mean. We've really confused ourselves and broken up those words. But underneath that, we still want that. If you're a creative person, you resonate with that phrase. That's what you're after. You're not after pure smarts. You're not after pure success. You're often not after monetary gain. You just want to do this thing. You want to manifest your potential. You have this thing in you that you want to put together and have come out. And everybody around you might say it's irrational to be a poet or to be a mime or to be a clown. It's irrational. No payoff there, no bottom line. But there's something going on inside of you that is an impulse that overrides rationality, so to speak, overrides the bottom line and causes you to identify for a lifetime as a certain kind of person.
Thank you. Thank you for explaining that. Again, I want to follow up with another question. And that's when you mentioned truth, beauty, goodness, and the fact that we are losing or have lost this. I just want to put this in context of how we are going into an AI era, and at times when we are demanded to be more robotic, be more efficient in our
Yep,
work, which a lot of time means, hey, forget about your creativity, forget about these, the truth, the goodness, and the beauty, but just focus on work and produce something for us.
that's right.
How would you find the middle pathway?
There isn't a middle pathway, I don't think. It would be lovely if there were. I think what one has to do, and this is a very high bar attempt, and that's to do something conventional to survive, whatever that is, whether it's being a waiter or being a physicist or something with tenure or whatever it is that allows you to survive, and then wake up 2 hours earlier than other human beings and do your creative work at 5 a.m., so to speak. That's metaphoric, but it's also real that I don't think you can make the workplace more creative. You can't make conventional places that are determined by the bottom line more creative. Business says it wants to be more creative. It's actually a top 5 goal for business. That's what business people say they want, but they don't mean it. What they want is better problem solving and more innovation. They want more efficiency, more economy of means, all of that stuff. They don't mean true creativity. They don't want to hire a Van Gogh or a Beethoven. That's not who they're after. They're after somebody who can solve problems better and innovate efficiently. So I don't think that you can make that place your creative home. I think that you have to find the stamina to be creative separate from that place, and that's really asking a lot of a human being to spend 8 hours or 10 hours doing a certain kind of taxing work and then go home and work on your novel. That's asking a lot of a person.
Dr. Maisel, it's a follow up again, another question that stems from it, and that's social media. Do you think that that has a generally smart approach, or do you think it's a creative approach? Would you tell our youngster and teenagers to be involved, or do you think that that's not productive for them and then they need to enhance their skills with other means?
The answer is that each human being has to be honest with themselves. I don't think it's social media per se, or texting per se, or watching TV per se that are problems. It's how you are living your life. And if you work for 10 hours on your novel and then want to be on social media for an hour, who could mind that? That's fine. But if you know that you're spending 10 hours on social media and no hours on your novel, then you have to have the honesty. You have to be a truth teller to yourself. Freud had a lot of strange ideas, but a lot of good ideas too. And one set of good ideas was about ego defenses and how we are defensive creatures and how we wall off the truth from ourselves through mechanisms like rationalization, intellectualization, denial, whole slew of them. We have all kinds of ways of not noticing what we're doing. One of my demands that I make on clients is that they know what they're doing, is that they let their defenses down for the sake of better understanding what's going on in their lives and tell themselves the truth. So to circle back around to your question, I don't think any of these mechanisms are villainous in and of themselves. It's just how we use them, or how we fail to use them wisely.
Thank you for answering that. What a remarkable journey we've just experienced together. The path to health isn't always straight, but it's always worth the effort. I hope today's conversation inspired you to take the next step in your wellness journey, armed with new knowledge and a fresh perspective. If today's episode left you inspired, share it with people, someone who need to hear this. Give us a thumbs up and your opinion. Keep exploring, keep evolving, and we'll see you in the next episode of Khan Clinics.